Support for Financial Grownup with Bobby Rebell and the following message come from TransferWise, the cheaper way to send money internationally. TransferWise takes a machete to the hefty fees that come with sending money abroad. Test it out for free at transferwise.com/podcast or download the app.
I would turn to her and I'd be like, Mom, I love these Jimmy Choo shoes, but I really could use help with my rent, or I could use help with food and things like that. And she was like, nope.
You're listening to Financial Grownup with me, certified financial planner Bobby Rebell, author of How to Be a Financial Grownup. And you know what? Being a grownup is really hard, especially when it comes to money. But it's okay. We're going to get there together. I'm going to bring you one money story from a financial grownup, one lesson, and then my take on how you can make it your own. We got this. Hey everyone, my friend Randi Zuckerberg is known for a lot of things. It would take an entire podcast to name them all. So some highlights. She is a best-selling author of Dot Complicated, a Broadway actress and singer that has starred in Rock of Ages. She is the founder and CEO of Zuckerberg Media. Randi is also the force behind Sue's Tech Kitchen. She's got her weekly Sirius XM show. And oh, by the way, she created this little thing called Facebook Live. But her most recent project is Pick 3, which is a book about priorities. And with all that Randi has going on, you bet she has had to get a handle on how to focus on what matters most, even if that changes every day. Here is Randi Zuckerberg. Randi Zuckerberg, you are a financial grown-up. Welcome to the podcast.
Thanks so much, Bobby. It's great to be here.
Major congratulations. Another, in this case, soon-to-be bestseller. Your new book, Pick 3, You Can Have It All, Just Not Every Day. We're going to talk more about that later on, but just high level, this is something that you've had in your head basically for your whole adult life. Tell us briefly about the concept, and then we'll do more about the book later.
Sure. Well, we're all juggling so many things. I know you and I, we both, we're entrepreneurs, we're moms. I feel like there's so much pressure on all of us to be perfect at everything we do, especially you log on to Instagram and everyone's lives look so perfect and so amazing.
Yep.
And then it's easy to sit there and think, gosh, how come I don't have my act together? Why don't I have it all and have that perfect balance? And what I've really started to feel over the years is that it's time for us to stop carrying so much guilt around. Nobody has it all. Nobody has perfect balance, no matter what their lives might look like on Instagram. And so when I thought about the times in my life I felt most proud of my accomplishments, it was not when I was balanced. It was when I gave myself permission to just prioritize and go for it in a few areas of my life. So that's what I'm writing about. It's called Pick 3, and it's work, sleep, family, friends, fitness, Pick 3.
Awesome. And by the way, just to show how much I love this book and how obsessed I am, I actually made notes in the book already. You can learn more about Randi's philosophy on social media and how our lives always look better online. Page 211. That was one of the things that I flagged. So that's how good her book is. I have a book full of little Post-it notes. Okay, we're going to go back to the book, but I want to talk about your money story because it's something that I actually related to because something very similar happened when I was a young adult, in my case, also in New York City. Tell us your money story because it has to do with the way that your mother taught you to earn your own money, but yet still was supporting you in different ways.
Totally. And it's funny because I didn't really learn the lesson of this story until many years later. In the moment, it felt kind of random. And now I'm so thankful to my mom for that. So in the book, I go a bit deeper into the story, but when I was right out of college, I landed a job at an ad agency. I was making, I think, like $28,000 a year, which, to live in Manhattan, that just doesn't work.
No.
I was in this apartment that was probably supposed to be a 1-bedroom, but there were 4 of us that were living in it. And my part of the apartment was like a fake wall partitioning off a corner of
probably
the living room.
Illegal too.
Yeah,
we know all about those.
Yes, I'm sure it was illegal and it was taking up, an entire paycheck every month. And my mom lived about an hour outside of the city. We've always been such close friends, my mom and I. And she would come into the city to take me out for dinner because I definitely couldn't afford to go to a restaurant on my own. And then she would be like, let me help you out. And she would take me shopping. And she would buy me like fancy shoes, like Jimmy Choo, like the
Where were you going in the Jimmy Choos?
I know. And I would be like, Mom, that's so nice of you to buy me Jimmy Choo shoes, but can you help me pay my rent? Like, that's where I really need help right now.
Or at one point you couldn't buy a Metro card, right? That's
right. There was 1 month that I had to walk everywhere because I didn't budget well and I couldn't afford the $120 or whatever it was at that time for a monthly Metro card. And so I walked everywhere in Manhattan for a month. That's kind of the state of how I was living.
Were you walking everywhere in the Jimmy Choos though?
I know, right? Luckily I had fancy shoes to walk in. So, good for that. But I would turn to her and I'd be like, Mom, I love these Jimmy Choo shoes, but like I really could use help with my rent, or I could use help with like food and things like that. And she was like, nope. She was like, it's really important that you make it on your own. You're a professional woman. It's really important that you cover the basics of your life on your own. She's like, but I'm here to show you what to aspire to, the reason that you're working hard, and to show you that it's okay when you do make that money later in life to treat yourself and to spend a little bit of that money on yourself.
Nice. So for our listeners, what is the lesson from that? What is the takeaway? How can they apply it to their own lives?
For me at the time, it definitely felt a little frustrating. Like it was frustrating that I could barely afford a Metro card, but I had this closet full of beautiful designer shoes. But at the end, when I do look back now on those periods of my life, like I'm proud of myself for supporting myself, even though it was hard. And even though I was barely making any money at all, I look back on those years with pride that I took care of all my own living expenses, that I made it on my own. And I still have those Jimmy Choo shoes in my closet as kind of a reminder, the first big girl items that I really ever owned. And they always serve as a reminder to me that, the reason that we work so hard in life, it's not just to accumulate wealth or status. It's so that like we can treat ourselves and we can treat the people we love, and we can really enjoy our lives and our money.
And so would you do the same lesson with your own children, knowing what you know now?
Maybe I would keep the receipt in the box in case they, needed to return it to like help pay their rent. My mom used to.
So wait, did you ever try to return the shoes?
No, she purposely would take the receipts home with her, so I couldn't. And in those days, there wasn't like eBay to sell them on or things like that. But honestly, if my kids were motivated and ambitious and driven enough to think of ways to resell them, then, that's great. That's teaching them an entrepreneurial lesson.
All right, let's talk about your money tip, because it's something we haven't talked about here on Financial Grownup, in part because I don't know a lot about it. And that's kind of your point. What is your money tip?
So my money tip is to make sure that you're not just focusing all of your effort on learning about the systems that are already in place. Make sure that you're spending some time thinking about the new financial trends that are going to be coming out in the next few years. Specifically, I think the biggest trend that's going to hit this industry is cryptocurrency and blockchain. I know I've personally spent a lot of time over the past 2 years learning about this space and educating myself. And I think it's so important for women, especially, to learn about the space, because right now, only about 2% of cryptocurrency is owned and traded by women. And ladies, like, what's the use of catching up with our financial knowledge over here if we're then just going to be completely left behind in 10 years on the next new thing that's making all of these new millionaires? I don't know about you guys. I don't want to be left out of the next thing that's making all these millionaires. So I think it's really important, even if you're not investing in the space, to at least understand it enough to be able to participate.
Where is the best place people can learn more about it?
I love listening to a lot of podcasts. I actually am so passionate about educating women that I literally just sat in my closet with a microphone this week and recorded a 2-hour introduction to Bitcoin and blockchain that I'm about to release. So I'll definitely give you more information on that. And it's specifically designed to teach women the basics of crypto.
Perfect. So now we have where we can go. I will make sure to put the link in to the show notes for everyone. So that's your gift to our listeners. Thank you so much, Randi. This is great. Okay, so now we get back to what I really want to talk about. So I've got this book here with all of these. I sort of almost ran out of Post-it notes because I have so many Post-it notes in the book, and we have to keep it short because this is a short podcast. But it's basically about being lopsided and being okay with that. And that's kind of almost how you got into college, was just saying, I'm not going to apologize for not being balanced.
Totally. Well, I think, and I'm sure, Bobby, when you think about the things in your life you're most proud of, like the things you hope we're alive to tell our great grandkids about, each of us have, 3 or 4 things on that list that we're super proud of. It's probably not times in your life that you were super well balanced. Like for me, that list right now is like completing a marathon, singing on Broadway, like being part of Facebook and having my 2 children. And not one of those 4 things happened when I had balance in my life. All of those things happened like when I really allowed myself to just go for it and be super lopsided and prioritize a few areas of my life at one time. And so I want to give especially women out there permission to, pick 3. Pick a few things in your life that you want to prioritize, because there will be other times and other phases to pick other things and round out your life. But just, give yourself the permission to go for it and be excellent in whatever you want to do without the guilt.
I love it. One of my favorite areas was when you talk about quick fixes if you're feeling exhausted. And I say that because this book is also very practical, because people feel overwhelmed. And there are very specific solutions in the book. Even at the end, there's like worksheets so that people can make it applicable to their own lives and really make it specific and actionable.
Thank you. Well, I live in the real world. In an ideal world, we'd all be getting a lot of sleep every night and going to the gym and spending time with our children every day and doing all of these things. But at the end of the day, we all live in the real world. And I know that there are some days that you just cannot pick sleep. Like your kids are sick, you have a deadline at work, there's something going on, you have an early plane to catch. So I tried to also, while encouraging people to pick different areas, also tried to give some hacks to actually get around it and still function in your life if you can't pick that one area.
So it's 3 in the 5 things that you're picking 3 from are sleep, work, friends, family, and fitness. And the great thing about the book is you break down each one.
Yes, I try to break it down. And I really tried to interview a mixture of people across all ages and walks of life, because if you're in the position that you can pick which areas of your life you want to prioritize, then you're in a real state of privilege that everything in your life is going so well that you can choose. There are a lot of people out there who have life circumstances where they just can't choose what they want to focus on. Life picks for them. And so I wanted to make sure that all different people were represented.
Randi, where can people find you and learn more about everything you're up to, including Pick 3?
Thank you so much. I have been known to be available on a few social media channels, like Facebook, and one's owned by Facebook. But yes, you can find me on Facebook, on Instagram and Twitter. I'm at Randi Zuckerberg. And then Pick 3 is available on Amazon or any of your favorite bookstores. I love indie bookstores and promoting them. So, go pick it up at a cool indie bookstore near you.
Congratulations on all, and keep in touch.
Thank you so much, Bobby. This is awesome. Love your podcast.
Hey friends, I think we all have a good sense of how Randi stays so grounded despite literally being on the go all the time. I have been personal witness to that. Prioritize and keep perspective. Financial Grownup tip number 1. You may have noticed that one area of Randi's book really hit me. All of our lives look like so much fun online. So many of us, myself included, have felt a little wistful when we see photos and videos of friends who always seem to be vacationing while in the perfect outfit and going to a fantastic concert where, of course, they get to see Beyonce and hang out with her and Jay-Z backstage. Just kidding, but only about part of that. But we are all actually usually happy that they're having fun. It's not necessarily competitive, but still. Remember, it is a curated version of their life. Real life can't be edited, and filters don't work outside of the digital world. Randi's advice that really resonates with me: flip that back to what you can control and be a little more intentional about what you post, about the image that you put out there to other people. Don't just post your own perfect moments. Try to be more authentic with your social media, and maybe we'll all get the hint and be a little more real. Financial Grownup tip number 2. Let's all go out and learn about Bitcoin. I said learn, not invest, though you can if it's right for you. The truth is, as Randi said, we may be missing a big opportunity. I always think of famous investors like Warren Buffett who say they don't invest in anything they don't understand. So let's understand and make a decision from a point of understanding and information. I was recently at a retreat called Statement Event. It was women thought leaders, a very small group of us, about 17. We had dinner with the CEO of a company called Empower. And he asked this group of all women, how many of us talked about Bitcoin as an investment option for our followers or listeners? The room got silent. He asked, had we really investigated? Nope. I'm going to check out Randi's tutorial, and I will leave the link for you guys as well. Let me know what you think. Make sure to pick up your copy of her new book, Pick 3. You can have it all, just not every day. And write a review for Randi. Authors love reviews. Thank you all for your support. The show has been growing, so please keep sharing on social media, writing reviews on iTunes, aka Apple Podcasts, and subscribing if you have not already so you don't miss any upcoming episodes. Do you have a money story that you want to share? Maybe a great money tip? We are starting to have listeners as guests once a month. So to be considered, email us at info@financialgrownup and just tell us what money story and money tip you would share if you are chosen. To learn more about the show, go to bobbyrebell.com/financialgrownup podcast. Follow me on Twitter at Bobby Rebell, Instagram at Bobby Rebell1, Facebook, I am at Bobby Rebell. Randi Zuckerberg really nailed it in this episode, helping us all get one step closer to being financial grown-ups. Financial Grown-Up with Bobby Rebell is edited and produced by Steve Stewart and is a BRK Media production.